Hey everyone, Ocean Conservation and Marine Life expert Jacqueline Friedlander here, and today we are on a field trip to learn about the California wetlands. This is my friend Brenton Spies, and he is going to teach us about tidewater gobies. So what are we looking for today?
Well, hopefully tidewater goby. They're definitely found in here. Hopefully we can find one, but there's definitely tons of other fish and birds, invertebrates, so we kind of just have to pull a net and see what we can find.
To keep our clothes from getting wet, we put on waders. Waders are waterproof boots extending from our feet to our chest, traditionally made out of rubber. So can you tell us a little bit about this sandbar and what the difference is between the ocean here and the lagoon?
Yeah, so what's really unique with California estuaries is what we call seasonally closed or bar-built estuaries. So part of the year, usually during the summer months, a sandbar will develop. And so it really separates the marine environment, the ocean, which is about 35 parts salinity, is generally what the ocean is, to what the lagoon is, which is a much more brackish water system, so it's much more fresh water.
Salinity, the saltiness or dissolved salt content of a body of water. Brackish water, water that has more salinity than fresh water, but not as much as seawater.
Hopefully, if we get some rain this year, the sandbar will kind of give way and this will breach, and then it'll actually become a more open tidal estuary.
So basically it'll mix together and then eventually the sandbar will reform?
Exactly. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So this is called a refractometer. This basically is a unit that will tell us how salty the water is. Perfect. We'll put about 2 drops on there. All right. Look through. And right where the white and the blue meet, it should tell you what number it is.
Just above 1.
Just above 1. So that means it's almost fresh water. All right.
It's right at 30.
Right at 30. All right. So a little bit less than usual, but yeah, that's kind of what the ocean's supposed to be. So this is much more saltier than what the lagoon is.
So what is this net and what are we going to do with it?
So this is called a seine net. We're each going to be on one side of it. How a seine net works is basically there's a float. The top has floats on it. The bottom is weighted. So that way when we're pulling it through the water, we're basically going to collect everything that's within the water column.
Can anyone just come out here with a net and pull stuff out of the water?
Absolutely not. So you have to have special scientific collecting permits. This is a state park, so you have to have state park permits. You have to have special permits through the state.
Before we go in the water with the net, we put the bucket and the viewing tank at the end so that we can keep the fish out of the water as little time as possible. Caught a rock.
A rock, and we got some fish.
What kind of fish is this?
So this fish is actually an invasive fish. It's a mosquito fish. They're introduced so they can control the mosquito populations. Malaria is somewhat of a threat out here. There have been some cases of malaria, so this fish eats the larvae of the mosquitoes to kind of limit the amount of mosquitoes that are found in these stagnant bodies of water.
And then what about the snail?
Definitely a bottom-dwelling snail, because you can see how it's a very similar color to the sediment.
So the snail is the same color as the sediment so that he can camouflage and live in there without getting eaten.
Definitely.
Okay.
All right, ready?
Yep. Oh, we got a lot of stuff this time.
Got a little ghost shrimp.
Oh, cool. He's cool. Oh, here's a baby one.
Oh, another ghost shrimp.
So they jump.
Yeah, they kind of flick their back tail.
Uh-huh.
And, oh, there's another mosquito fish.
Mosquito fish?
Since, this mud looks really gross and nasty, but it's very rich in nutrients. And there's tons of food sources for all these little fish and invertebrates.
These red worms, they're crawling on my fingers.
This is a native plant to California wetlands. It's called pickleweed. If you want to try it, it's just very salty.
It's edible, you're sure?
It's edible, yeah. So it kind of gives you
that. It's
that.
Actually really good. Eating plants in nature can be very dangerous, as many plants are poisonous to humans, even if they look delicious. Make sure before you taste anything like I just did, a trusted adult has told you it is safe to eat. So that was really cool, seeing what Malibu Lagoon has to offer. Should we head to Topanga Canyon Creek?
Yeah, let's go check it out, see what's over there.
Excellent. So we finished our adventure at Malibu Lagoon, and now here we are at Topanga Canyon Creek. So let's see what we can find.
All right. And you can see real quickly, look how many there are. These are all the endangered tidewater goby. It's found exclusively in California, and this is actually one of the most abundant sites for them in the LA area. The tidewater goby lives for about a year. So it's what we call an annual species. These are not quite adults. They can get a little bit bigger than this, but the max size that they get is about 2 inches. So they're really small. You can see that they're very similar color to the sand. So they're they're always found on the bottom substrate, camouflage really well.
So I know sometimes when I go diving, I'll see saltwater gobies that are blue and orange. Are these guys related to those?
Yeah, they're in the same family. It's called Gobiidae, but they are very different in many ways than the saltwater gobies. These are very specially adapted for these closed brackish estuaries. So they prefer more fresh water than the saltwater, but they can actually deal with both fresh and saltwater. They're really, really hardy fish.
Can you tell me a little bit about the reproductive cycle of these tidewater gobies?
Yeah, so they have a unique system where it's called sex role reversal. So the males are actually the ones that kind of take care of the eggs. They'll dig a burrow, the female will come and deposit her eggs, some 600 to 800 eggs.
Wow. And
the male will guard them until they hatch, and it takes about, roughly about 9 days for them to hatch. This one is a female. You can see that she's very fat, and that's because she's pregnant. She's loaded with eggs right now.
We should put her back in the water so she can lay her eggs.
This is a crayfish. These are very invasive. They're not supposed to be in here, and they can actually do a lot of harm to wetlands. They can eat a lot of the fish, the native fish, or a lot of the nutrients and the food that the fish need in order to survive.
So are these related to lobsters?
They're in the same family. Yeah, they're crustaceans. These are arthropods is what we call them, crustaceans. So they have 10 legs. And so with these, their front legs are modified into the pinchers. So you actually will just see 4 sets of legs and then their pinchers.
If I were to get my finger caught in there, how much damage would it do?
It might give you a little nick or so, but I don't think that they're that powerful. You can try if you want. Let's see. Yeah, it's a good little pinch.
Squeezing.
Yeah, a good little pinch.
Well, thank you for teaching us about tidewater gobies.
My pleasure. I'm glad we got to find some today.
If you want weekly ocean and conservation information, click subscribe. See you next Friends with Fins Friday. Thanks for watching.